A little taste of Betrayal. Part 3 of Trilogy of Modern Vampire Groups. Developed for Lit2 Animate. Written by Zachary Cooper.
So, are you tired of her not learning how to give you an arm yet?
Zook asks Zant, with a half smile, while Zant still has a smile plastered onto her face. Tonight Zook and Zant are saying goodbye to a new colleague. She has research to do. The young vampire named Tina gets into one of Zant's private planes. Zant answers without losing her fake smile on her face, waving to Tina behind a window.
If that woman doesn't learn some anatomy from those doctors, and come back here with some theories on how to give me the arm back that I lost a year ago, I'm going to start getting irritated with her. This whining and dining is getting tiresome. She seems grateful enough, but I think she is starting to get the hint that all this good treatment hasn't been free. I'm expecting her to meld an arm back on so that I don't have to keep talking to people in my company with this pretend arm under my clothes.
She is off to speak with some vampiric dermatologists, yes they are out there, and doctors, to help her figure out a couple of problems that they have. Zant, the boss of the vampires in the city, has allowed her to use one of her private jets, and a comfortable place to live. Tina's creator is currently unavailable, due to some enhanced interrogation, and she needs to find another source of information. Other sources of info, well, they refuse to comment as well. Zant stands on a personal runway with Zook, watching Tina sit in her plane about to take off, both watching her as though she was one of their kids going off to college. Zant is wearing a new pantsuit designed for her with a little extra room on a side for a fake arm she has been wearing for some time. She previously needed to have a whole new wardrobe tailored after she lost the arm, and Tina is her hope of getting another one back. Most of the important stuff, nerves, and muscles were all there, just cut off at a certain point. That arm did rot pretty quickly, so it probably can't be reattached. She drops subtle hints to remind Tina of the request, and is losing patience. Telling people it is a new fad she is trying hasn't worked, but her use of the blood power to prevent others from asking more questions has also been annoying. Zook speaks up for her.
She'll figure something out. If she doesn't, you can cut her off till she figures out something. You have been pretty nice to her. She's also a baby vampire, she's learned a lot.
Zant looks over at him as the plane takes off.
You think I don't know that, Zook? She is one of the only ones with us that might help me. If she doesn't figure something out soon, she will regret wasting my time.
He continues.
She isn't going on a pleasure cruise, she is getting info for you, and the new patient. Sure, if she comes back with nothing, you can cut her off, whatever.
A low-pitched growl escapes Zant's lips, as they warp into a strange smile. Before getting out of sight, Tina is waving from the plane as it is spinning to get to take off, and they both wave back, faking to be happy enough, and walk back to their cars to get out of there. Zook looks at his phone for some calls for the night, sees 2 missed calls, and checks his messages. He hears one message of a man trying to find out if his wife is cheating, perhaps, then another was a woman calling him for help with a break-in. The woman's voice was melodic, but full of need. Well, the cheating wife is something he can dig into over time, the break-in is something he'll need to try to find out more about sooner than that. If he is being called, the cops were already called, and something is missing that might be either extra important, or extra not legal, aka, more fun. He calls that client back saying he would like to meet in his detective office downtown in a couple of hours. Zook is driven towards the city, away from the airport by one of his few employees, Bud. His driver is a blood-fueled human, known as a ghoul, driving him in his custom-made town car. There is not much different about Bud than when he was a regular human, other than he was a bit stronger, and will live longer to help Zook out. His car is a small limo with a couple of liquor bars in the middle rows, and a few custom things to try to prevent someone from doing something around him. Custom-made bear traps are set to punch out from behind the seats at the push of a button, and after some suggestions from someone who had the ability to hide, he set some other tricks in the car. Don't be gross, Of course there is no blood in the bar. It is for clients, not him. Blood doesn't last outside of the body without a fridge anyway. It doesn't fill you as needed and has a terrible aftertaste. Just think what the cops would think if his car was searched already. The blood would be a questionable addition. Bud is up front listening to his audiobook. On decent drives they had a couple they often listened to, unless Zook is sleeping. Bud has his own for trips or waiting on Zook during his special group meetings, and whatnot. They are on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, again. Bud asks,
"Hey boss, I've been wondering, where does the answer come from? Did you ever figure it out?"
Zook answers,
Through the magic of technology, yeah. I had that question in my mind for a long while, after I read the book. I never would have figured it out, but when it came up in my mind a while ago, I used the internet to look it up. Out of the many options figured out, I like the addition of each letter of the alphabet, to B. T is 20, O is 15, B is 2, and E is 5. It sounds like if he actually came up with that, it could be darn coincidental, but it might have just been a mystery number. I've read somewhere he just said that it was a number picked out of nowhere. The answer to life, the universe, and everything, is, to be. Something so simple, and poetic about it. Bud answers,
"Sure, boss."
They have to get back home to check on things. Steve, Zook's other employee, is still recuperating and training the new pooch, a mid-sized German shepherd with one ear flopped down, the other is straight up. The dog's name is Bite. Steve is still trying to build on his ability to speak to Bite, and Bite is still working on understanding English outside the use of the blood power. Bite, and Fluffers, an orange and black striped tabby cat, recently joined the family, are getting along fine as well. They tried to fight a bit at first, but Zook put a stop to that pretty quickly. They left again, and got to Zook's city office shortly before the likely new client is going to come in. He didn't get into the office much, other than to meet up with clients for the first time, then they usually meet in different places. He has a wood-stain color-framed door, and an opaque glass entrance with his name painted onto that, which is fading. There is a small room beyond the main door. It looked like a sort of waiting room, with a basic couch and desk. Zook has a cup-by-cup coffee maker in the room as well, next to the desk, ready if anyone wanted some. A smell in the room made it think like it is recently used. The way beyond is blocked by another basic wooden door, into a larger room where clients can go over their troubles. The floor looks like wood, but a quick observation noticed that the floor is covered in a fake vinyl material that gave the impression of wood, but for ease of cleaning. Bud starts by checking the room for electronic surveillance, and any other strange things, while Zook gets prepared to see the client. They need to be more careful than most, they don't have security for the building. Shortly after, a woman comes in and introduces herself as Patricia Moorhead, an accountant for some law firm. Coincidentally, the firm is a few buildings away, and she needs Zook's help. She looks like she hasn't slept in a couple of days, looking distraught and worried. She has blonde hair, her eyes are brown, and there are wrinkle lines on the sides of them, showing she has been crying. She asks him not to say anything about her name. She has heard all the terrible jokes, and he assures her that he is very professional, even though the jokes were rattling through his head. With the soothing voice that she has over the phone, Zook thought that she would be a vision of beauty, with long flowing hair, deep eyes, and great skin, but she is practically the opposite. She doesn't look like she gets much sun, and her hair is not brushed, or probably even washed in the last few days. She is wearing a wrinkled t-shirt, loose slacks over her legs, and she smells like she has been drinking recently, and a decent amount of it. The t-shirt doesn't fit the pants in style. It looks like she is wearing the pants from work, and with a different shirt after a rough day. There is some raw beauty to her though, some character under the exterior of not enough water, shower time, wrinkled shirt and pants. She has a damsel in distress situation going on, and she needs help. Even though first impressions were not great, he isn't a picky guy. He knows external beauty can be temporary, and he didn't need a perfect body to be interested, at least in the back of his mind. She is standing across Zook's desk, looking nervous, her eyes darting around, either inquisitively, or in fear, and is taking her sweet time in getting out what she needs. He asks her to sit down. Bud is going around the room using some device that the client hasn't seen, but there is some beeping and squeaking from it. It is a device to search for bugs around a room. At least every other night they make their way into the office, and they check it for bugs and other tech, like cameras. They didn't keep much here, so hiding anything around the place would be a chore.
Look, lady, we are losing the night here. You can spit it out. I've heard everything.
She still has the look like he shocked her with a taser from the abrupt request. Patricia asks,
You sure that guy has been careful about searching for listening devices?
Seriously? I'm a private investigator, and he's one of the best. It is a big thing we do, just spit it out.
Okay, fine. I've been cooking the books.
Zook raises his hands, and calls out,
And the truth shall set you free. Well duh, you are an accountant, so you are embezzling from the law firm. What do you need?
From the law firm? Oh crap, no way, you think I want to get myself killed? No, I'm taking from a gang in the city. I've been handling a decent amount of their cash, and fencing their criminal pursuits for a while now. They still don't know, but someone has taken a couple of my important books. I mean, they also took my DVDs, game systems, and games, but all that is insured. No, for some reason they took my extra books, keeping track of some of that extra cash. If the gang hears about it somehow, yeah, they'll probably kill me, but they aren't the law firm, thank God. Those guys are ruthless.
Zook raises an eyebrow.
Okay, we'll get to the law firm later.
He asks for details.
Sure, got it. So embezzling from a gang, there are a few of those around the city.
Zook fuels his blood power to try to manipulate the victim, making eye contact and speaking clearly, in this case, to help her. Sort of.
I need to know more. You can tell me the truth, which gang, how much we are talking about, so we can figure out how angry they'll be if they do find out. Would you be able to give them the money back, and who is your fence?
Rattling off questions like they are a set of instructions that he easily expects to be told. Seconds later, out of Pat's mouth.
The kooky 50, I don't remember how much, between about 7 and 10,000.
Her eyes widen, surprised at her truthful reply.
I've spent some of it, but most can be paid back. Sue is my fence, she works for Sammy.
Pat covers her mouth, her eyes widen, and she coughs a few times. Now it is Zook's turn to be surprised.
Oh, you know your fence works for Sammy?
How are you doing this? I wouldn't tell you.
Fueling his blood power again.
Don't think about it, I just have one of those faces. I'm just getting things moving, you are the one talking. So, a quick description of what I'm looking for, and a quick little contract to note that I'm working for you. It doesn't say why, just proof that you asked for my help, and I plan on helping you.
Zook has a default contract to give clients so that he gets paid, and has proof he is doing a job just in case someone comes asking. He pulls a blank one off his stack and hands it over for the client to sign. She looks it over, checks the cost, and signs it. Zook gets up telling her he'll get right on the problem, and will keep in touch. After closing up shop at the office, Zook is back in his car with Bud.
Hey Bud, did you find any there today?
Yeah, looks like this could be police issued, but you know how easy those can be to come by around here. Do you dig the new client? She looked a little clumsy tonight.
Yeah, I like the way she looked, there is just something about her. It is sort of, damsel in distress, meets nerdy. Wait, what is that new animation recently, the red-haired, Viking princess one?
Really, boss? If you haven't seen it, neither have I. As a heterosexual, over 40-year-old, American man, it isn't one of my usuals. That woman in the courthouse was pretty sexy though, beautiful body, and a nerdy vibe. She was drunk that night too. She let loose that night, man. She really didn't like her ex-husband.
Not one of your usuals? You might think one of my human friends might have more time to have their thumb on pop culture than a guy who sleeps all day. You get that woman's number or email?
Nah, it was fun, but I felt like I was getting the hate sex, which was A+. She came with a lot of baggage though.
Zook continues from earlier stuff.
Hell yeah, she did. So, a possible police-issued bug, huh? Hopefully, that isn't from, well, it could be from a few different cops, but I hope it isn't from him. I haven't been able to find him at the precinct since a few nights ago. I think he suspects me of, well, you know. Anything else, camera or something?
No boss, just that. I broke that once I found it, no other surprises.
Zook goes over the possibilities in his head. There is a cop who suspected him of being himself. There were some others in the organization that might want to spy on him a bit, but some might be more direct than using tech these days. He didn't put anything past anyone. It could have been that new client, trying to find out more about him. Never mind, he thought to himself, rabbit hole. He tells Bud.
Let's work with what we have. Let's see if we can get a hold of Sammy. He might have gotten sloppy if some client knows he handles offense. I'll give him a call to see if we can talk tonight.
Sure, he has the local mob boss's phone number in his cell. It isn't something to morally be too proud of, but it is something that should be known if a modern vampire wants to know the right people these days. He picks the coded contact, and dials him up.
Hello?
Hey big guy, it's Z, you have a bit to chat?
The voice brightens.
Oh hey man, sure you can come on over. It is getting a bit late tonight though. Might this take a bit?
Probably not, be there in about 20 minutes?
Oh sure, I'll be here with bells and whistles on. Wait, do you know what the heck that phrase is from?
Zook rolls his eyes.
Oh my god, I'm not your walking encyclopedia. I'll see you in a bit, look it up yourself.
That isn't what the kids do these days, Z. They tell you to Google search it.
And that is why kids these days can't remember anything.
After those last words, he hangs up. About 20 minutes later they pull up to the golf course, which Sammy runs, and make their way up to the road to the recently repaired clubhouse. It had to be repaired from the last shootout that happened there after Tina was taken a while ago. Ah, the memories that run through his head. You don't forget the first kidnapping in front of your eyes that isn't you. Oh crud, he just realized where he recognized the client's eyes, as they pulled up to the golf course clubhouse. Zook knocks on the door, opening it shortly after is a face he recognizes, and it smiles at him.
Oh, hello Tiny.
He says to a large man looking down at him, and he looks up without a care in the world. The big man asks as a smile appears on his face.
Where is that nice lady friend that came with you last time?
Zook spends blood into a blood power to increase his speed, only by the little bit he has been able to build over decades. With a lightning hand, he reaches up to grab Tiny's collar and yanks him down, whispering to him, their faces nose to nose.
Hey Tiny, if you see her again, if those naughty thoughts come into your head, you better not let them escape your lips.
The big man tries to struggle, but the grip is stronger than it looks. He replies with a smirk.
What, you going to come back and beat me up?
No, she doesn't need defending from me, it is just a friendly suggestion. She can rearrange that pretty face of yours into a work of art.
Zook says this with such conviction, patting Tiny's cheek lightly with the palm of his hand, that Tiny's face blanches a little.
Yes sir, the boss is inside.
Zook answers in a regular tone and voice.
Excellent.
Walks past him, opens the door, and is not stopped. Sammy stands up when Zook enters, with his arms wide.
Hey Zook, did you get that thing I sent ya?
No, I didn't, I never get that thing you sent me.
Zook answers with a confused face. Sammy's face twists in confusion as well, actually remembering a gift he sent. Zook's lips straighten into a smile, shortly after that, though.
Old and expensive scotch isn't usual for me, but I have been able to get a few clients, and some extra charge out of it.
He says with a smile. Sammy answers.
You old bitch, I know it isn't a drink of yours, I know your favorite, or only drink, however, you might be able to use the gift, man, I appreciate the help that night. I can't just send you your usual drink, can I?
This regional mob boss in town knew Zook is a vampire, he has saved his life recently, and owes him a favor. Sammy is a ghoul, a blood-fueled human, of another vampire from a different city, created quite some time ago.